the strangest feeling to know what to believe in. Cause every time you touch me, I can't control my body. Oh, baby, you are on my mind. All I think about, and I don't wanna stop.
From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another conversation with Trent and friends on the B2G Unity TV network. That's Butterfly Evolution and Taylor Kennedy Media combined for better TV together. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Thank you guys for tuning into the B2G Unity TV.com. We're actually live right now. So thank you guys all over the country. Appreciate all you guys actually tuning in. The conversation is back, man. We really appreciate it. We're going to bring Coach Dee in, and we're going to have some good fun here tonight. Plus, we're also going to have some teachable moments as well. So let's bring Coach Dee in real quick. Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good. Can't call it my sport. How are you tonight?
I am doing fabulous. Other than I got passport pictures taken and I look like a wanted poster, but other than that, I'm great.
Good stuff. That's right. You guys will be traveling in a minute, right?
Yeah, we're heading back to Canada for a couple of weeks in the summer.
I'm
just Xavier's escort, just so that I am well aware of my position in this trip. I am just there to pick grandparents and carry his luggage. That's it.
Exactly. There you go. Good stuff. We got a hot one tonight, man. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun with this one, but we're going to have some teachable moments in there as well for the good folks. Let's say hi to the folks so we dig into it. But we're going to recap from last week on cost of a date. I have a story for you guys. But let's say hi to the folks real quick.
Hey, Martine says hi. And Slash says Grand Rising Melanated people. Greetings, Princess Coach Dee and Mr. Epic. Hello.
What's going on?
Our two favorite fans.
Good stuff. What's going on? So let's recap before we get into the he or she into you or nah. Let's get into this cost of a date, right? How much is too much? So actually, as I was thinking about last week's show, I happened to bump into something that was going on over on TikTok, right? So this guy was inboxing this girl on Instagram, and they chatted for months on top of months and what have you. So he flew her out from Indiana. Mm-hmm. So, of course, they got personal, in those inboxes and all that stuff. So the guy spent about $5,000 on everything. And she was particular about the things that she wanted, the things that she don't eat, the places she eats. And you could tell from her demeanor and the way she was speaking, she was a common chick. Let's just be fair. So he said first start up the red flags came in when he was booking a flight and she said she don't fly Spirit. So he went up and extra $500, he put her on Delta, plush hotel, all this good stuff, right?
Right.
So he was a perfect gentleman for 2 days. Then he was trying to stay at the hotel on his dime. Get it? So she said, oh, no. But that wasn't the vibe she was giving him beforehand, right? So they had this whole argument, all this other foolishness. But that goes back to what we were talking about. First of all, he was supposed to see the red flags beforehand. And why would this idiot spend $5,000 on a date with someone he never even laid eyes on? Only through a box, inbox. Second of all, Instagram, come on. So it's shared responsibility in this one, but he's an idiot for putting up $5,000 to get it there.
Then sex should never be an expectation.
Exactly. It shouldn't be an expectation, but it shouldn't be.
There's no but.
Come on, this is my thing, right?
But.
So for him to do that, he was saying, "Well, it should have been understood. It was understood before you got here." She played with the cheese. She dangled that cheese on him. Just the way the conversation went, she dangled that cheese on him. But he's an idiot for taking the cheese. And we're gonna leave it up to the viewers to figure out what she is. But in the end, folks, my whole point is you gotta be mindful and careful when you're dealing with this type of stuff, these type of women and men. $5,000? Come on, man. On a woman that you don't even know.
Well, if you can't afford $5,000, don't spend it, and then don't complain about it afterwards. If you set yourself up for an expectation of something that is not required to be, wait.
Go ahead.
Expectation of something that is not required to be given, because there's no expectation that if somebody spends money on them, you have to have sex with them. That is ego. So he played with fire, he got burned, and now his ego is hurting, and he's going to sit in the corner like a hurt puppy. Don't spend the money. Don't spend the money.
I totally agree. He's an idiot for that. He's an idiot for that, but she has to take some type of responsibility for leading this guy on too.
Did she? What's leading on? Because y'all start thinking with the head below your pants.
Now, you know how I feel about that word, y'all. Come on. Some guys. I have been hit on by more men than you have in my life. So, you know what? This is the thing. If you cannot afford to do what you're doing, you need to not do it. That's plain and simple. That's like people complaining about the cost of a date. Don't spend that much money. Nothing
gets hurt.
Before we jump into the he/she topic, is he into you or not? Is she into you or not? In from the viewer, my favorite Detroiter sends over a receipt of a date night of a friend and her hubby, comedy show and all that stuff.
Right.
$72. $72.98 is doable. $72.98 is very doable to have a great time for $72.98. Actually, they were less than $10, a little about $10, $12 to the standard, the going rate.
Yeah. I will say it and I will say it again. Date within your budget.
Exactly. I totally agree. But I found it to be funny when I was like, well, we're gonna recap on these two idiots. But I found it so funny where these folks meet online and then he pulling out 3-5 stacks to wine and dine her, someone he never even smelled. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But let's move forward. We digress.
I'll share an email I got this week. And Alvin just joined in and said, "Good evening, panel. Hi, Coach Dee. Hi, Alvin. I hope you're feeling better."
What up, pal?
So I received an email and I died of laughter when I read it. So I got in for somebody on TikTok. I got in with a passport bro on TikTok who told me that I was too masculine and that I will never find a man because I don't know how to be submissive. And that's why black men are going to foreign women. And I was like, sir, I'm Canadian. I was born and raised in Canada. I moved to the US at 36. I'm like, y'all don't know what you're talking about, passport. So this gentleman told me that I should dim my light and dumb it down a little because a strong alpha man needs a woman who is not as outspoken. I'm like, you want a doormat? I'm like, sir, I think you need to, and I went straight into coaching mode. I said, I think you need to take a look at where you were hurt as a child, where somebody else sharing their light is an inconvenience to you and causes you harm. Because it seems to me that your ego right now is stuck in me mode and not me mode. I'm like, if anybody wants to be a passport boy and remind me that I'm about foreign women, remember who you're talking to, because I will coach you on why you need to go for women who are doormats, because those women are hurt women, they're wounded women, and they're stuck in a trauma bond, which is why they will put up with that behavior.
We'll get to that. So let's get to the topic here. So he or she into you or not?
Oh Lord.
So think about it, right? So actually, this is your topic. We're doing your topic tonight. But come up with a few things, man.
Okay.
I got a couple phone calls.
Is this for men or for women?
Both sides, for both sides, both sides. But first of all, I like to get into the healing process. When you realize that this guy, this woman is not into you, first you got to make a decision to heal and move forward. But before that, you have to stop negotiating with yourself. What you're feeling is exactly what you see. Again, what you're feeling is exactly what you see. Then you make the decision to move forward and move on. That's what the healing process, right? And you should never take it personal. If he's not into you or she's not into you, they chalk it up and chalk the deuces and keep it moving. Thoughts?
Listen, don't let somebody tell you twice they're not into you. That's rule number one. Believe them the first time. Don't chase them, because it's not going to work. Right. And a woman, you should never chase a man. You know.
That's right. That's right.
I may be a little bit old-fashioned that way, but I will never chase a man.
That's true. That's true.
And there's I have a whole list of signs that they're not into you. So you want to start with my list or your list?
Well, there's one last quote that I wrote, because I've been going since this morning. I've been on one since this morning to 5:15. Then we'll start off with your list. And the second quote is, if you have to fight for a spot in someone's life, you already lost. Move on. You got to move on. Again, before you move on, stop negotiating with yourself, though.
Yep. All right.
Go ahead with your list.
Okay. So I'll start with my list first, and then I'll go into the whole this divine masculine, divine feminine thing that people got. So one second. I just closed the page. Let me pull it back up. All right. So first sign, they don't respond to your text right away. So they don't initiate contact. If you have to constantly call them or text them, they're not into you. Right? Right. If she or he doesn't pay attention when you speak, if they call off plans with you all the time, if they're flirting with other men or other women, and I don't mean like just a general flirt, like the waitress comes by or the waiter comes by and they flirt. I mean, like if you're at a party and they leave you in a corner and go off to be with other men or other women.
He's definitely not into you.
Yeah. They avoid discussing the future with you. They haven't opened up to you and told them more about themselves. They're not reliable. You're the secret relationship.
One more time.
No.
Repeat that for the folks in the back.
So you're the secret relationship. Now, I want to tell people there's a difference between a private relationship and a secret relationship. If you're a private relationship, that's fine. But if they have you blocked on all their social media, that's not private. That's secret.
That's a problem.
They're hiding you for a reason.
That's a serious problem. Somebody's hiding something.
They're not interested in knowing you. Doesn't care to dress up for you. Disregards your opinion. You're the only one to initiate plans. Doesn't give you time. And here's the kicker. They talk about their other women or other men. Okay? Body language. They string you along like it's on, it's off, it's up and down. No public displays of affection in public, unless they don't because of religious reasons or cultural reasons. That's a little different. Right? If they have their phone, and this is a big one, if they have their phone with you and it's always turned upside down, that does not necessarily mean that they're hiding something. That could mean that they're just being present in the situation. But if their phone rings and they go to grab it and hide it, That's
That's a
something.
problem.
That's a red flag, right?
That's a problem.
You have to change who you are to be with them. Your gut feeling tells you there's something going on. All those things are signs that to run,
Exactly.
run the
Run.
other way.
Move swiftly. Move
Move
swiftly.
in the opposite direction.
Exactly. So hey, let's get to a couple of comments and then we'll get down to breaking down the process.
Okay.
These guys
So
are piling up.
Martine said, recently watched a show where one of the two people discovered that they only been together because of their trauma. Yep. What show was that? You have to tell me what show that was. I don't watch a lot of TV, but that sounds like I need something to watch. Slash says, they aren't dropping that kind of money for you to come see them so you can all just be friends. Plus, according to them, they've been sexting and sending nudes. She knew what time it was.
Absolutely.
All right. Martina, I know Chase Man. I'll wait until he reached out to me. Not for long, though. They only see you at night. Tells you, let's go with the flow. Don't want to meet any of your people, friends, or family. Yeah. All kinds of things. But it's interesting how people will ignore red flags. But I'm going to tell you why. Some people ignore all that stuff.
Do tell.
Because, and childhood trauma comes back again. So if you have abandonment issues as a child,
Right.
your ego will reach out to somebody to fix them, so to stop them from abandoning you. So that abandonment issue becomes something that's happened in the past. But here's the problem: that never works.
Right.
Because if the person that you're reaching out trying to fix will never be fixed by you.
Pretty much.
So that childhood abandonment issue will just increase because you're going to get abandoned again and again and again, because you have to heal. Because a healed person and two healed people together are amazing.
So here's the scenario, right?
Okay.
He's a nice guy, very nice guy. A guy that may be attracted.
Okay.
Or maybe he was interested. But now he's not so sure. Now, I don't see anything wrong with that. With the guy, that he was attracted, now he's not so sure. But here's the problem. Did he verbalize it? Did he communicate that? Did he speak to her and say something? That's how you stay out of trouble. You have to say something first.
Yeah.
You have to say something. And that goes on both sides. It goes on both sides. That's just like with the young lady we opened up with about the guy who flew her out from Indiana.
Right.
I guarantee when she saw him, she probably didn't want no parts of this dude. She wasn't physically attracted to him, and that was that. But if the lines of communication was really open, somebody should have said something.
Yeah. If they were
Someone
adults,
should have said something.
they could have discussed it. They could have cut the trip short.
Exactly.
No harm done. No harm, no foul. Everybody moves on.
Like grown folk.
Ego gets in the way.
Do tell.
Nobody wants to be the person who's wrong. Nobody wants to tell them decided that on this person wasn't good for them.
It's called shared responsibility, folks. If it didn't work, it didn't work. Just be adults about it and move on. You're Mr. Right or you're Mrs. Right. It's still there. It's just not that person.
Listen, everybody's not your person. And I tell people that all the time. So
exactly.
And as we grow as people and as we heal, like there's some things that you have to look at to find out if they are your person or if it's even going to work. Like for instance, you have to find out if they were raised in love or survival.
Now explain it to. I know what you mean. Explain it to the viewers.
So somebody who's raised in love, like my son Xavier, he has no doubts that his parents love him. There's absolutely no abandonment issues. There's no thoughts of I have to worry about where my food coming, I'm going to sleep. Everything's fine. Right? He's a very privileged, happy little child. He doesn't have to worry about a darn thing except for getting in trouble for sneaking too much candy. You know? But you have another child, like some of the kids who go to Xavier's school, they're homeless. They don't know where they're going to eat. They don't know where they're going to sleep. They don't have water, electricity, all of these things. That's a child who grows up in survival mode. That survival mode will carry through to when you're older. Like you'll have people who hoard food in their pantries because they didn't have food as a kid. Right?
And if you guys really want to get into the trauma thing, you go over to the B2G network under the on-demand. Coach Dee and I and Shannon, all of us, we're speaking on the 7-year-old effects from the childhood, 7-year-old childhood effects dealing with trauma early on in life.
It all carries forward. So
exactly.
that's the thing. It's our attachments as a child is where we have trouble leaving people when we're older. That's why some of us have so much trouble letting go from situations that we should never have been in to begin with. Because when it comes down to it, when we look at our relationships, the common denominator is us, right? Yeah. And so once we change that common denominator, when you're somebody who's gone through the process and you're healed, the healed men will come towards you because your energy is different.
Say that one more time for the people all the way in the back. The healed men are going to do what?
When you're healed, the healed men will come forward because you're aligned then, right? So here's one thing that people are not going to like, and I know I'm going to get hate mail for it. If somebody is screaming, I'm an alpha male, I'm an alpha male, I'm an alpha male, they're not. They are the most wounded of the men. Because anybody who has to exert dominance is not dominant.
Pretty much.
So that's why healed people who are balanced, who don't have to worry about that issue. You see people and you'll see them, they're like, man, why are they so calm? Why are they so unbothered? Like, because they've done the work. So they don't have to prove anything to anybody else because they are who they are their authentic selves. And if somebody doesn't like their authentic selves, then they just move on.
I see those guys piling up over there. You got a couple in there?
Okay. Where'd I leave off? Says Will Trent is the name of the show. Okay, I'll look it up. Martine says, I'm an affectionate woman and I need for my man to be that too. Not smothering each other, but loving on each other. I like to touch and hold hands. If there's no chemistry, I have no problem with letting a guy know. Lover survival. I had this one convo with both my children again recently and with a couple of friends. Some people think that their love can change others. Some people will have to leave them be. Yep. And those type of things don't have to be mentioned. Yep. Love, if you need to change somebody or you need to change to be with somebody, you don't need to be with them.
Here's the thing though, and it's not love that's actually changing that person. It's your infatuation to that person.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're just infatuated with that person. That's all it is.
Yeah. And once that emotional connection is gone, that person is just average again.
That's it.
People are so shocked. Like, you'll marry somebody and then you'll get divorced, and after the divorce, and you've hit that that I call it the meh stage, where you're like, you look back and you're like, what the hell was I thinking?
I mean, I've done that myself 1,000 times, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sitting up in a quiet space and say a photo pops up somewhere and I see it. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah, and then you see all the right
exactly. Exactly. When I was infatuated, I didn't see all that.
Yeah.
I didn't see all the scars. I didn't see all the mental scars and everything that I was supposed to see in the beginning from the onstart. But it happens to everybody. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, you make a decision to move forward.
Right. Yeah. Because you don't want to be in a situation where you're not all in.
Exactly.
The way they need to be loved.
Exactly.
And it's better for everybody to walk away.
Exactly.
Maybe you can be friends later on.
That's true, because you really don't want that lopsided love, man. I've been on the other side of the love song a ton of times. It's not a good feeling.
No.
It's not a good feeling at all. Make the decision and keep it pushing. It may sound kind of direct and forward, but when it comes to matters of the heart, you have to be direct and forward. Mm-hmm. This is not for me. I'm out.
Yep. And that person that could be for you could be somebody who's there the whole time, and neither one of you realize it until years later down the road. Right? Because sometimes you both have to heal or get to a different situation where it's like, wait a second. This person has always been there, blah, 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 blah. That's why you see people connect after been friends for 30 years.
Right.
It's just interesting. Martine says, like a guy I know who almost always makes a self-reference. I'm smart and makes my blood boil. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. If you have to say it all the time, then you're not it.
Exactly.
It's a self-reflection type of thing.
And that's also this thing where folks are trying trick a person into attraction. Mm-hmm. If you have to trick a person into being, hey, look at me.
Right.
Leave it alone. Don't even open your mouth.
And it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to see. And there's a lot of things you have to be careful about because there's a lot of harmful people who do things that don't look harmful. For instance, like if you're getting like people who are narcissistic or borderline narcissistic, they will make themselves look like the perfect person. They will love bomb you. They will do all this stuff. And then once they have you, then they don't want you anymore because it was just a challenge to get you.
Now give the direct definition of love bombing.
Love bombing is somebody who, well, I don't know what the direct definition is. I can look that up, but it's somebody who basically says all the right things, does all the right things. They give you gifts. They shower you with affection. They shower you with compliments. They're always.
Do they change their mind in the end?
Because it's a conquest. It's not about finding the right person. It's about
conquering. Yeah.
It's about getting a supply for them, so that person that they're love bombing will do the same back. So as long as their ego is getting stroked, they're happy. But as soon as that person stops and realizes that, wait a second, this is very transactional, and I'm not getting. It seems like it's good, but then they get very cold very quickly. So you get a cycle. So then that person starts going, well, I need to walk away. So then they look for a new supply.
Now, when you say that when it's transactional,
mm-hmm.
they're all in. The moment you start withdrawing, it's a problem.
Of course, yes.
They'll stay in line as long as that transaction is taking place. They'll stay in that Walmart line, collecting all day long. But the moment it's cut off,
they'll walk.
All hell breaks loose.
Mm-hmm. So, and I always tell people will meet you where you are if they want to. Like, for instance, I was reading the book by Prince Harry. So, and this man loves this woman. I don't care what anybody says. You can see it in their body language. So there's a part where he says he had lost his phone in the river, right? So this man wrote a letter, got a friend to take a picture of the letter to send it to her. He found a satellite phone, then climbed a tree to send her a message. I'm like, if a man and I always tell people, if a man wants you, he will move heaven and earth for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about climbing a tree.
If he can't text you back, come on. In slavery, men.
I don't know about climbing a tree.
Well, yeah. Well, he's more athletic, I guess. But in slavery days, men were sneaking over to plantations facing death to see the lady of their dreams.
Right.
And you can't text me back? Come on.
That is hilarious. We had a couple of comments there.
Let me see. Where did I leave off? Oh, there we go. I'm open to meet and be in love. And this is from our team. It's a lovely man. I haven't had a really good chemistry energy with a man in years. And only met in aisle 41. I had a few guys to tell me that we could grow on each other. Run from that. That you shouldn't post your list, discuss your wants too deeply, because that person may pretend to be exactly who you've described, because you give them too much info. Love bombing. Yeah. The easiest way, you can give people information, but you'll be able to tell rather quickly if they're not into it. Like if you tell somebody that you love reading books and then you take them to a bookstore and they stand there twiddling thumbs, they don't love reading books.
Right. Now, wouldn't you say when you talk about, what was that last statement she made? She said, grow into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grow into each other.
That's hard work. That means you're trying to force, to me, when I just heard that, the thought of trying to force something that's really not there on either side.
Yeah. If you need to grow into somebody, you need to go buy some plants. because it's not
Right.
destined to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
The
Right.
chemistry should be easy. Yes, love is work because love is an action. It's a choice that you make every day. Because some days you may look at that person and be like, "Oh my God, I just
Yeah,
can't
but at
stand
the
them."
same time, you got to be
Go
realistic,
choose
man.
them. Yeah,
You have to be realistic. You know what I'm saying? You can't walk into every situation with rose-colored glasses on.
correct.
You know, let's just be fair and honest. Everyone comes with shit.
Oh
The
yeah.
question
If you say
is,
they don't, they're
will you go
lying.
to the question is, will you go the distance with that shovel to get through it? Everybody comes with shit.
And we all have our quirks too.
Exactly.
Some things people may find very annoying. Some people, you know, like I love lip gloss. I have probably 40 tubes of lip gloss in my medicine cabinet.
Right.
I'm never buying it again because I know how to make it now. But previously, if I went shopping, I would buy a new lip gloss whenever I went shopping. Now, somebody would say, "Well, that's you have too much lip gloss. You don't need more lip gloss." That person is not my person.
Absolutely right.
You know? So if you have something that you like to do and it's not detrimental to your health or your wallet, and that other person should support him. If they see a new lip gloss, the ideal guy, if he saw a new lip gloss color that he thought would look good on me, he would pick it up.
You know, my personal belief is this is just my personal belief. The
Hmm.
reason why we having this type of climate with relationships and with the sexes, like the battle of the sexes, honestly, everyone's really speed dating.
No.
Everyone in this cesspool, yeah, I really believe that. Everyone's in this cesspool and trying to figure it out, and they're speed dating through it. No one's stopping to get to know one another. Everyone wants to get to the meat and potatoes right away.
Well, you don't need to,
Everyone wants to get to the hearty meal right away.
but you don't need to have 3 or 4 dates to know somebody's not your person.
I agree, but man, you're dealing with that many souls. You have a date every other day, every other week, whatever. Come on, man.
Why not?
You drafting them? Come on.
Why not?
I
There's
have no
eight
interest
billion.
in that.
8 billion.
Like I said last
You
week.
you have no interest in that. That's why you're not dating anybody.
Like I said last week. Like I said last week. That
Mhm.
64 color crayon box. Those 64 colors. I already know the color I want. I'm not gonna go through every color, all 64. I'm not gonna go through them. That's exhausting. It's
Well,
very exhausting, man.
you don't have to be exhausted.
It's
But
very exhausting.
some of us have a crayon box of 256 colors, and we like 20 of them.
And that's why the women are in condition that they're in.
Excuse me.
64 colors. Think about it. 64 colors. 20 of them out there. You date about 20 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
15 were in, but you still went anywhere on that date. But you're still in, still looking for the perfect color.
But there is no perfect color.
Exactly. So that's 15 souls that you didn't even have to snatch.
But you could be you. So those 15 souls you went on when you went on one date, did you learn anything from those 50 people? Everybody we meet
Somebody for
changes.
me,
Everybody we meet changes us in a little way. You're
yeah,
writing off people that you don't even know could give you the most important information you've ever heard in your life because you don't want to go on a date.
I'm good. I'm very selective. I'm very selective.
Well, you continue to be very selective and stay home alone with your dog. Meanwhile,
Very selective. Go ahead.
I will not condone anybody. I have no issue with somebody who's going out on multiple dates. All the power to you. Find your person.
Find your frog. Find your frog. Get warts.
No, there's no. Why are you assuming that people are a frog? That date means a frog.
I'm just saying. I'm just teasing. Go ahead. I'm just
You might
teasing.
end up going into a whole coaching session with you, sir. You know?
I'm just teasing. Go ahead.
All right,
Go
so
ahead.
Martine's, I'm gonna go do some comments. She said some people have way too many hang-ups, right? A lot of little things too. I have a lot of little things that mean a lot to me: lipstick and glosses and cool socks. It doesn't take me weeks to see that a dude is for me or isn't. Yeah,
Right.
and I'm not sitting around waiting for that one. I mean, that one summer I'm gonna be seen. Yeah. Here's the thing: the person you think is your person may not be the person you think it is. That person could be somebody who looks completely different from what you're expecting. They could do something completely different than what you're expecting, because people have these lists and they may not be on the list, and you may be looking at somebody who may be your person for the next 50 years, and they may just walk into your life one day and you're like, whoa. And then you're going to sit back and go.
Yeah, those lists get a lot of people in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Get a ton of people in trouble.
Yeah, they do. It's, Ursula joined us. Thank you for joining us, Ursula.
What up, Urs?
Says, good afternoon, good people. I firmly believe in circular dating, but I don't sign off on hooking up and casual sex. No, hooking up, I don't do hooking up. Too old for that stuff. But here's the thing. Not everybody has the same hang-ups. I find, and this is a very American thing. And it goes back to the Puritans and all kinds of religion, all that big stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But here, in other countries, dating is a lot more fun. Versus here, everything has an expectation to it.
Give the folks an example of Canadian dating, because I'm not sure if other folks have actually dated abroad like I have, but give folks an experience on how dating is foreign.
We're outdoorsy people, so it's a lot more activity oriented versus going to dinner.
Right.
Like we go skating, we'll go skiing, snowboarding. Go to the pond, play a game. We're outside. We're hiking, kayaking. We're doing a lot of outside activities. But I think that's more just the culture itself versus because our cities are we're culturally different. We're close, but we're not.
Wait, I wouldn't even say close. It's not even close.
Like,
two totally different situations, two totally different planets. Nah, it's not. Dating over in Canada was completely different from dating in the States.
Yeah, I was taken aback.
Completely different.
Yeah, when the first thing people ask me what you do, I'm like, well, isn't who you are more important? Like I had a guy tell me, he goes, well, I work at NASA. I'm like, that's great. Who are you? What are you like? Do you like books? Do you like movies? What do you do? Yeah. I'm like, I work at NASA. Sounds like a great opening line.
You got to show up in the States. You got to show up to the date with your desk plate and with your name on it, all that stuff. They want to know who they are. I'm out with the CEO or the president of such and such a company and all this other foolishness. It doesn't work like that.
Titles are definitely a big thing. It's interesting. Martine said, this guy from another country told me that he sees how silly and uncertain Black folks, when it comes to dating and marriage, says we waste time thinking we're going to find something better. I don't know. What country is it from? That's because there's a lot of cultural things going on. I've dated internationally. It's interesting. But here's the thing. No matter where you're dating or where you're from, you need to date people who match you.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, when you date, man, I mean, I know some 50-year-olds that don't know themselves.
Well, if you don't know yourselves, you're not going to know,
That's the point.
That's the key.
That's the point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the key. Like, I know I'm a quirky nerd. Right? If you can't handle quirky nerds, just keep going. You know what I mean? If you can't, if you can have somebody who has no problem sitting down watching a Lord of the Rings straight through, just keep moving. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's just the way it is. Know who you are and what your quirks are.
So let's get to the process. Let's get through the process of moving on from a situation.
Okay.
Once the person verbalizes this, communicate that, okay, hey, you're very nice. You're just not the one for me. Where do we go from there? First of all, on the male side, you just have to accept that, man, and just move it on. Because I'm seeing in some cases now, just like a couple of days ago, this guy shot this girl for declining his offer. Basketball player, college kid. Shot her dead.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If it's not going to work, man, it's not going to work. You don't even know the lady. Why do you even want to be aggressive toward her? You don't even know this lady. You don't even know her. So if no means no, man, hey, she's not interested. She's not interested. Keep it moving.
It happens. It happens a lot.
Keep it moving. And for the ladies, if it's not there, it's not there.
Yeah.
There's no need to stress yourself out, and it's not a worth thing. So know that it's not a worth thing when a guy doesn't want you. It's not it has nothing to do with your worth at all. It's just not a match. That's all.
Just say thank you. It's been lovely, and
that's it.
Keep it moving. But here's the thing: it's dangerous for women to say no.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
I have a Google Voice number, so if somebody asks me my phone number, I will give them the Google Voice number.
Right.
Because some people will call it right away. They will call it right away. My phone will ring, but I will never answer that number because it comes up in an app, and I know not to answer that number.
Right.
But they will see the phone ring, and then they'll walk away. But
yeah, I've never gotten that where you tell me no and I want to attack you.
Well, here, that's where you have boys, the whole boys will be boys. He's pulling your hair because he likes you. If she says no, keep trying. That's all stuff that we need to stop telling our sons. If she says no, move it along.
If she say no, it means no. It means, okay, well, you lost. See you when I see you. Next.
But a lot of people don't do that. So that's where we get into the situation where people use violence versus their voice.
That's ridiculous. So again, make the decision that you want to move on. Make that decision to move on. Don't take it personal. It's not about your worth.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to grieve that he doesn't want you or she doesn't want you. Allow yourself to grieve. And I say grieve, yes. Yes. Because if you're actually bothered by this, you need to grieve this out of your system.
Yeah.
Allow yourself time to grieve and space. Man, leave that woman alone. Don't call that woman no more. Then it turns into harassment.
It is.
Hey, lady, do not call again because now you're going to look a little crazy.
Yeah.
Have a girls' night. Go out for a girls' night. Just keep it moving. All you have to do is make sure you just keep it in a forward progression. Keep it moving.
Yeah, listen to Miley Cyrus or Shakira's new songs because those are banging if you want to get over somebody. I have a whole Spotify list for moving on songs.
Exactly.
I tell people date, and this is why I tell people to date a lot. Because if you get caught just dating one person and it's not working out, people get too attached and then they get too excited.
And my only problem is with that one, I'm glad you brought that up, right? Mm-hmm. We talk about all these different dates and all. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. You want to explore your options. Yeah, but in today's climate, man, everyone has to be careful. Not only women, men as well. So you have to be very selective. That's the word I should have used it early on. You should be very selective of who you encounter, who you allow into your vortex.
Yeah, but
not just these random people, man. Come on.
Here's the thing: Americans equal dating to being extremely intimate. Dating is not always about like.
I get that, but I totally get that. But like I said, in today's climate, you don't even have to be intimate with these people today. This guy shot that girl. This guy never even touched her.
Sir, I'm a woman. I'm well aware what men are capable of.
So, but my whole point is you have to be careful in your, just like I said last week, be purposeful in your conversation before the date, before the dinner, before that movie. Be purposeful in the conversation. Mm-hmm. On purpose, with a purpose.
Let's get back to the comments. Martine, did you all see the older couple who were going through a divorce and her hubby drove his work truck into the house she was temporarily living in? Oh yeah, it happens all the time. That's why women need to date a few guys, talk to a few guys instead of sitting thinking one is it, especially us older women. Yeah. And here's the thing, men get upset because their ego gets involved. That she's talking to one or more men. Whereas he will be doing the exact same thing, but it's good
Not
for the
at all.
not good for the gander.
Not
So,
at all.
Listen, you are maybe home alone. You may.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Hold on a second. And I'm going to say this. I'm probably going to get a whole bunch of messages for this statement, but
Okay.
I got a shitload of options if I choose to activate them. But I'm extremely selective in who I deal with, how I deal with them, and on what level I deal with them.
Mm-hmm. I know that.
Thank you.
Yeah. But the same note, you're not dating right now either.
No, I'm not. And that's my choice. Because I'm focused on this recovery. You know that.
Yeah.
I'm focused on this recovery, and I'm almost there. So my focus is the finish line. I don't need no distractions right now.
Sometimes being too selective can be an issue as well.
I just don't want to be distracted. I mean, it's cool. It's cool right now, but I'm too close to my goal to be distracted. That stuff takes work, man. That stuff takes
It does.
It takes a lot of work, and I'm dealing with brain yoga, and I don't need no interruptions. So if you're not coming in with peace, leave it at the door.
I get it. Yep. So here's the thing. I tell people, you know what? Don't set restrictions on yourself.
I agree.
If you're looking at these lists, look at those lists and see how restrictive those lists are. Because Mr. Perfect may be 5'9" and not 6 foot tall.
Exactly.
Miss Perfect may have an 8-year-old and not be 40 with no kids. You know what I mean? Look at the list and take a look at what you're doing and who you're talking to. Because sometimes that person may come right out of left field and you'll be like, oh my God, this is the one. And they have nothing on your list. Right. But they are the perfect person because your list doesn't match up to who you are as a person and what you actually want.
That's right.
Because I was told once, you're not what I want, but I'm what I need. That's not a compliment.
Wow.
Because as soon as they don't need it anymore, they will look for what they want.
Exactly. So he pretty much told you without even knowing, he gave you the goods on himself. Mm-hmm. He's lacking somewhere.
Yeah, but it took me years and work and healing to figure out that was not a good thing.
Right.
Yeah. Somebody tells you, you're exactly what I need.
And it's okay not to be. It's okay not to be a good fit.
Yeah.
It's okay not to be a good fit. It's okay. Adults move on and continue to be friends.
Exactly. See, we're friends. Years later, we're still good friends.
Yeah, we're still good friends.
Yeah.
All these years later, we're still good friends.
And some people
I get calls about that all the time. Like, dang, y'all. Yeah, but we're still good friends. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, we're friends. That's where we'll stay. It's just not in the books. We're meant to. What it was what it was, and this is where we are now. We are much better off as friends and having these amazing conversations.
Exactly.
So let me get back to the comments real quick.
Okay.
Martine says, I'm not sexually active. I just want to talk and build, get to know the guy. Not dating is a choice, correct? I don't want to keep cheating myself. Exactly. Yeah. Right. People in their 40s and up have the nerve to say they don't want a person with children. Yeah. Here's the thing. If you don't want people with kids, that's fine. Don't date people with kids.
Right.
But not everybody wants kids. And I respect that to the fullest. But here's the thing. If you don't want kids, don't call me up going, oh, I really like this kid, but she got 3 kids. I don't know about this. I'm like, I'm going to tell you to dump her because, one, she does not deserve you because you are not going to love her kids the way they need to be.
Right.
Yeah. From the get-go.
And there's nothing wrong with a guy dealing with a woman with kids. I've done it. I've been in extensive relationships, lengthy relationships with women who had kids. Spent time with those kids and everything. I mean, come on, man. When you go into a woman's life and you're liking her, you're digging her, you're caring about her, and that kid's father not around, that's a need. That kid at that point was your moral compass, brother. If you like her, you're gonna have to spend some time with the youngin. Come on, man.
Yeah. And the same thing with single dads. There's a lot of great single dads out there taking care of their babies. Here's the thing. If you're with somebody and you know they have kids and they're not taking care of those kids, that's like the biggest red flag on that field that you could ever imagine, and you should run fast. Because if you ever want to have children, you already know exactly what they're going to do because you're seeing it doing it. So, that's what I tell people. Believe who they are when you see it and you're told it. And a lot of time you'll save yourself a lot of trouble.
Exactly.
Right?
And again, and I'm gonna step on this and keep on stepping on it. For females, there's nothing wrong with your worth. When it doesn't work out, there's not a worth issue with you. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
The connection didn't happen. Because I noticed in some cases, some women are all after, a split or break or whatever it is, they go to quoting word stuff. I know my worth. Yeah, hey, nobody question your worth. But this just didn't work. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. But they may have been in a relationship where their worth was questioned. So that may be why they're saying something. So there's something behind that.
Right.
When somebody's doing that. But here's the thing. I always tell people that once you move past that relationship and you get to that May stage, and then you can look back and you can see where you have gone wrong, where they've gone wrong, and where it wasn't a match. Because now your eyes are wide open. So then you can start looking forward to the next relationship and make changes.
Exactly.
And
that's where the adult in you will go back and say, hey, you know what? Didn't work out, but ain't no hard feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Be the bigger person to close that door.
Right.
Again, be the bigger person to close that door.
Mm-hmm.
Because the person who closes the door first is the one that's going to move on first.
Oh, yeah. And Martine says, and there are people who have a step parent. Yep. And I've heard guys say, I usually don't date that type. I'm like, yeah, don't date that type. I've had people tell me they won't date me because I'm a July Cancer. Whatever that means. I'm like, I'm not into astrology, so I'm not sure what that means. Somebody send me a message on what that means so that I figure it out. But you know what? If you know your type, then go for your type. If you know what you're looking for, realistically, not materialistically, not your ego, like what your heart wants, then look for that person. Yeah. If you love dogs, don't date somebody who's got cats. If you love cats, don't date iguana people. You have to stick with the people that are your people. You're
right.
Like they say opposites attract to a point, but when you look at those opposites, they do have a lot of in common as well.
Totally agree. So we're coming up on, what is that, 5 minutes to the hour?
Yeah, 5-2.
What's your teachable moment here?
My teachable moment is always be your authentic self, no matter if people love you or hate you. Because your people will love you for being your authentic self. And if somebody doesn't love that, then that's somebody who doesn't need to be in your circle.
Exactly. My teachable moment is stop negotiating with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If he or she say, hey, this is not for me, you're seeing exactly what you're feeling.
Right.
Exactly what you feel, that's exactly what you're seeing. Move on swiftly. Forward. If it's not there, it's not there. So stop negotiating with yourself. And the reason why I'm speaking on negotiating, I used to do that. I used to negotiate with myself, talk myself out of walking away from them. That's what I mean when I say negotiating.
Yeah.
I talk myself out of walking away. But you constantly, if you constantly negotiating with yourself, it's going to be a turmoil. It's a cycle of turmoil.
Yeah, we should always walk away before we're pushed away, because it's coming.
That's right.
You can feel it. It's not working. It's not it's not what it's supposed to be.
That's it. I mean, you can't get no clearer than that in I say for the adults, just be open with communication and say exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Open communication and leave those lines open will solve a whole bunch of problems before it becomes really problematic.
Definitely. And you know what? If there's somebody that you like, always shoot your shot. The worst they can say is no. If they say no, then you won't go back. You won't go through years of, oh, what if I had asked them out? Ask them out. The worst they can say is no. If they say no, they go on a date. If you go on a date and it works out, then yay. If it doesn't, then you know your answer, and there's no question about. There's no what ifs.
And if you're gonna shoot your shot, fellas, make sure you know that's gonna go in. You got to go in with confidence.
And if she says no, keep moving.
Keep it moving.
Yeah. Because no is the complete answer. And ladies, the same thing for you.
Exactly.
Don't be chasing something that doesn't need to be chased.
Exactly. Well, that's gonna be it for us for tonight, folks. But thank you guys for tuning into the B2G Unity TV, Butterfly Evolution, and Taylor Kennedy Media combined for better TV together. Dee and I thank you, and the numbers are looking real well, man. And it's actually spread across the country, even going into Haiti. And it's a wonderful thing, man. It's appreciated. We truly appreciate all the support and what have you. So it's good stuff. Tammy's up next on Tuesday at 7 with another What's Your Story? That's Tammy. She's doing great things over there with that as well. So good stuff. Kudos to Tammy over there in Memphis. Good stuff. But for all your past shows on demand, go to b2gunitytv.com. b2gunitytv.com. Under the browse button, browse to the on demand. We got an array of shows there, a variety of things that you could actually get something from. So really appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys. I actually got some movies up there you guys can check out.
What are we going to talk about on Sunday?
I don't know. What's your thoughts? What you got?
I don't know. I'm thinking something. Email us some ideas for conversations.
That is good stuff. That's good stuff.
Or Valentine's Day is coming up.
Yeah, I know.
But Martine says good night. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Martine. Really appreciate it. Yeah. So now.
Yeah. Give some ideas.
Yeah, give us some ideas, man. dlayler@gmail.com or trentwill@taylorkennymedia.com.
Yeah, or post on the Facebook page.
Yeah, that's it. Post it on the conversation continues, and we'll get you guys going, man. Get you guys going with those conversations because, as you see, Dee and I love to Gumbo Talk. So we'll just throw extra 2 cents in the pot and stir it up, put a little spice to it.
And there's nothing really off the table.
At all. Not at all.
To be honest. We may not always agree, but there's really nothing off the table. We'll talk about everything. Everything and anything.
Absolutely. So until Sunday, we'll see you guys on the other side here with another wonderful conversation. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Good night, everyone.
Kind of got caught up here.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.